In this video, we'll talk about the CSS Box Model, what it is, and why it's important. The CSS Box Model is a set of rules that defines how HTML elements on a web page are displayed. You might be wondering how it does this. CSS regards each HTML element as a box, and each box has a set of properties that defines where it appears on the page. By definition, the CSS box model is essentially a box that wraps around every HTML element. It consists of margins, borders, padding, and the actual content. That's a lot, right? Let's break that down, working from the outside in. The margin is the amount of space that surrounds an element outside its border. It determines the amount of space between the element's border and the other elements on the page. Margin is typically measured in pixels and it's transparent. The border surrounds an element outside the padding. Borders can be transparent or they can be a color. This code shows a border that's 2 pixels wide and it's dark red. The solid value means that the border is a solid line. Padding is the amount of space around an element inside its border. Padding is also typically measured in pixels and it's transparent. The content is the actual content of the box where the text and the images appear. Content doesn't have its own property and it's instead measured by width and height. When deciding how and where an element will appear on the page, it's important to carefully calculate all of its box model properties. Consider this div element. When calculating the total width of this div, we must first take the width, which is 200 pixels. Then add the border, which is 5 pixels, remembering that the border is on both sides of the element. This means it's a total of 10 pixels. Then we add the padding and the margin, again, remembering that we have to double these to account for each side of the element. That's 20 pixels for the padding and 10 pixels for the margin. When we add these values up, we get the total width of the element. This results in a total of 240 pixels. To recap, the CSS box model is a set of properties that determines the dimensions of every HTML element on a web page. It consists of margins, borders, padding, and the actual content of the element. CSS is best learned by doing, but we hope that this video helps round out your understanding of it. Good luck in your practice.